everyone. I want to welcome you to Chair Talk, where we get to the seat and the soul of soccer and life. I am so ridiculously excited to have two legends of the game, just absolute legends, rock stars, people who are, my phone rings nonstop because they want to get a hold of Kia and Tina. Everyone's so excited about the work that you guys have done, that you're continuing to do. I just want to welcome you on the show. Thank you for being here, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. This is awesome.
Of course. Yeah. We're going to just have a little girl talk here today. Have a good time with this, man, and then give some insightful information for all our viewers. So I'm going to start with introduction because we have to put some respect on your names. You guys have done some serious work. So bear with me as I read through this because we got to get through it all. So Tina, I'm going to start with you. You grew up in Vancouver, Washington, right? And you would hope so. I didn't know this. I learned as I was researching. You guys were the top leading goal scorers for the state, and you guys were going back and forth.
Well, and that's the first time I heard her name. That was the first time I heard her name. My coach was like, Tina, there's a girl all the way in, I don't know, Eastern Washington. Her name is Hope Solo. You guys are head to head for goals scored. So it was funny because I was like, she was my rival then.
As strikers, it's so weird. Neither of you guys ended up being strikers for the national team. That's so funny. But oh my gosh, you became one of the most respected forwards. You were a Pac-10 Conference Co-Player of the Year in 2003 and 2004. You had to do it. You didn't just want to do it once. You had to do it twice, huh? You also played on multiple professional soccer teams. Some of the best ones. One of the ones I'm going to put notice to is definitely that St. Louis team. Or how many championships did you guys win?
I think, Kia, I'll let you answer that one.
We didn't win, but
we didn't win one.
This is the added part.
But we competed. We competed in I think a Final Four, right? Kia, I think that's the furthest we went.
Semifinal, yeah.
Very nice. And then you also played on the U.S. national team, and you were one of the best defenders. They said 1v1. You were one of the best stand-up defenders that they had. So, Tina, thank you so much for being with us. I'm just so excited to have you on and talk about your experience, and then where we're moving into coaching.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Great. And Kia, the superstar McNeil, man, you grew up in Avon, Connecticut. You helped lead your team to 3 straight state championships.
Yeah.
And you had an undefeated season, it says here?
Yeah, we went my sophomore, junior, and senior season undefeated.
You guys are not playing around. So what you did this year with the Ivy League team, where you guys were undefeated, that's kind of in you. You don't like losing games, huh? And you're a defender.
I really don't.
Oh my gosh, you were the 2003. So both of you guys had some accolades on 2003. You were the 2003 State Player of the Year in Connecticut, and a 2-time All-American. And you also played basketball and track.
Yep.
You made time for some other things. Those are my 3 sports too: soccer, basketball, and track.
That was me too. I did the same.
My gosh, look at
soccer,
this.
basketball, and track.
Very, very cool. And then you went on to play for multiple professional teams. You were on the youth national team, crushing it. Also known as one of the best defenders out there. They even talked about your NCAA record, like just the goals against with your captainship and leadership. Man, I'm so excited to have you guys on. You guys are Black excellence. There's so many of our young, up-and-coming Black female coaches who need to see people like yourselves who are doing what you're doing and can just look up to you. So we had to do this. And people were like, why don't you do them separately? I was like, because they have really good chemistry and it's going to be fun for me to hang out with both of you at the same time. So everyone's like, can you do them separate? We want to learn from them. But it's selfishly me. I just wanted to hang out with both of you guys and ask questions. So.
Well, I'm happy to be in company. Being around Kia is probably one of my favorite things to do. So I'm thankful that we're together. This is fun. This is awesome.
Awesome. So let's get straight into it. How did you guys get started in soccer?
Well, Tina, you can start first.
Okay. I have a brother who's 2 years older than me, and I've always idolized him, just looked up to him a ton. And he got into soccer first. And I remember sitting on the sidelines and watching him play and being like, I want to do this too. And so back then I played on an all guys team. I have a twin sister as well. And she decided not to play. She watched and she was like, I don't know about this. And so I went and played. I was like 6 or 7 years old. I went and played on a boys team. And that was my start. That's how I began, watching my brother play and then getting on a boys team. And then eventually the next year, my sister joined the team. So
very cool.
Yeah, same story. I have an older sister. She's 2 years older than me, and I kind of always wanted to do everything she did. You know, I was like her shadow. So, you know, when she got out there on the field playing, I was like, "Mommy, I want to do that too." You know, and, I think it was just a good way to, like, you know, get some energy out, run around. You know, everybody in my town, we have this huge soccer park that has about like 10 fields, and you know, everybody in my town played, so it was just kind of something that everybody was doing at the time.
Wonderful. How did your family help to prepare you? Because I know you guys are both really close with your family. How did your family help to prepare you guys as players? And here, by the way, you guys both have twins?
I have a twin brother.
I have a twin sister. She's
And guess
14 minutes older than me. How about you, Kia?
I'm 58 seconds younger than him.
Oh, very cool. And I also figured out we're both May babies. All of us, we're May babies. We're the Taurus family, the Taurus family in the building.
Stubborn. Does that mean we're all stubborn
loyal
here?
and dependable. No, very loyal and dependable. So I'm like, yay, I got him on my team now. So very, very cool. So how did your family help to prepare you guys in this game?
So my parents both came here from Africa. So my dad's from Ghana and my mom's from Nigeria. And so they came here to school. And my dad has always played. So he played back in Africa, and then he, you know, did intramurals. He didn't play collegiately, but he did intramurals and played that way. He was kind of a bookworm. So, but soccer was always a part of, we were always watching it. It was just something that he loved. And obviously he went on to coach, but it just was in our framework. My mom was a runner. My dad played soccer. You know, it was, you know, you're going to play soccer. My brother started, then I did. But I think their drive, my parents came here. My dad came here with $20 in his pocket, and his drive and determination to make a life for himself and his family. I don't know. I think that kind of pushed down into our soccer and everything that we do in life. There's a determination that I think that was passed on from him and my parents in that way. And my sister, my brother, and I, we have a bit of a grit, and like when you watch us play, there's a bit of a grit and determination. And we think we got that from my parents, just coming here and wanting to make a way for us. So I wouldn't be playing soccer if it wasn't for my dad. I know that, and the support from my brother and my sister is huge.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, I would echo the same points. I think just the fact that they were just such a support system. Like anything that I wanted to do, they were trying to find ways to do it, and we didn't always have the means to do it, but they always tried to figure out a way. And I think it's kind of carried out throughout my entire career. Even when I was a senior in college, and I called my mom and I said, "Hey, Mom, I kind of want to play. I want to keep playing. I want to play professional." You know, there's a lot of parents that would kind of shoot that down and say, "No, you just got a degree. You know, you need to, you know, put that to use right away." And she was like, "Okay, well, this is what you need to do." And she kind of helped me through that, you know. And so I felt like that's just the way they've been my entire life. Like I would kind of say, "I want to do this," and they would be like, "Okay, let's figure it out." And I think that they've just like sacrificed so much in their own respective lives. And, you know, I think it makes me appreciate definitely where I am now, but obviously the path that I've taken to get here as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. Who helped you to develop? Like, what are some of the clubs that you played for? Where did you guys play club soccer?
Back here in Vancouver, small Vancouver, my dad actually ran a club. So my dad was my coach for a lot of my years. And so I really credit him, and I'm probably going to be saying this whole you know, conversation, in that he has always taught me. I think the biggest thing he taught me was just to get at goal. Like he just encouraged me to get at goal, go at players 1v1. And so for him, he really kind of gave me that nugget. But my high school coach, and then obviously Leslie Gallimore, my college coach, are people who really were huge, made a huge impact in my development, and giving me the tools, teaching me along the way just to, you know, be the player that I want to be, evolve into the player I want to be. And they kind of always kind of kept me looking forward and reaching for it. And so, you know, I had my dad started it, my high school coach. She was actually African-American. And there's,
wow,
I've been fortunate to have 2 women coaches, and one being African-American. So that was huge for me. Those were people that I looked up to, and, you know, further on, I mean, I got into coaching because of those 2 women. So, but for my development, I'd say dad, and then, you know, the people that kind of kept it going was my high school, and then my college coach. But club soccer was just me and my sister and my dad. So I'd say that those are my driving force for sure.
Awesome. Awesome. Kia, how about you?
Yeah, for me, I was playing for a club. It doesn't exist anymore in Connecticut, but it was called World Class at the time. And then just because we had four kids in our family at the same time, and my sister and I were both involved with soccer. So just to make things a little bit more logistically and financially feasible, my mom told me that I had to play with my sister's team, which was 2 years up. And we actually got in a huge fight about it. I just wanted to play with my friends. I wanted to have fun. I think at that point, my mom was starting to see like a bigger picture to soccer and starting to think about college and the opportunities that could come from it. And I was just thinking about friendships and relationships, and it was fun and this and that. So I played up with my sister's team for a guy named Rudy Meredith. He was the former coach at Yale University, and he was the first Black coach that I had ever had. And so he was amazing because he allowed my mom to be the manager of the team. And, you know, obviously that helped cut some costs with different things logistically to make it financially feasible for both my sister and I to play on the team. And then he was also somebody who allowed us to come, you know, an hour early to training and just do like extra finishing stuff with him and do extra technical work. So I think he was just somebody that really invested in me and my sister and like helped us see like the bigger picture and the opportunities out there for us. And, you know, helped a lot in terms of help guiding me towards which college would be best for me. So I would definitely say Rudy was a big impact in my life.
Wow, you guys both had Black youth coaches. I don't think I had a Black coach until college. My coach, Kali Kanibana, was the first Black coach I ever, you know, experienced, you know, coaching from. And I also have to say, I'm so happy to hear that you said Leslie Gallimore left a huge mark on you, because she's now the GA commissioner.
Yes.
So she's going to have impact on thousands of young girls' careers. That's, as you were saying that, I'm like, oh, that's amazing.
Well, and they are so lucky to have her. I mean, again, my most favorite years in my development were my 4 years in college, and she played a huge hand in that and taking me to that next level. Absolutely.
I just noticed, like, not that we're having this whole, you know, moment with Leslie here, but I just noticed how supportive she is on a lot of the stuff that we're doing within our group too. And I'm like, she's out there spreading herself thin and just being super supportive. So it's nice to see that she'll be able to continue to do that. So that's awesome. Really, really cool to kind of look at. How has your background shaped you guys as players and then now as coaches? Like, how did your background help you guys to become the absolute monsters and, you know, legendary players and coaches that you are right now?
I think I'll go back to how my family came to this country. I think that it's a story that we listened to as kids. And my dad always taught me that you have to go and take what you want. You have to go, you have to educate yourself. You have to, you know, set yourself apart. And I think that is something that has always stuck with me, has been my drive. I mean, determination, I fully believe that's how you just describe me, in that, you know, I went to college with a 6-month-old. Wow. I had a child at a young age, and, you know, some people might think, man, you know, how are you going to do this? And I just, that determination and then that support, obviously from my family, but gave me that mindset to, like, if you want something, if there's something that you desire, if there's something that you want to acquire, if you want to play on the U.S. women's national team, if you want to play in college, like, the determination is what's going to get you there. Right. And so, you know, my background in that, my parents just never let up, you know, and they've just taught us to never let up. If you want it, go out and reach for it. No obstacle will ever stop you from it. And that's just truth. I'm not even trying to put fluff on any of it.
You don't even believe that there's such a thing as an obstacle. Like, obstacle what? What is that?
What is it?
What?
And so I think for me, it's something that then I took into my playing career, and also now in my coaching, in that, like, there's no excuse. There's no excuse. Everyone laces up their shoes and gets out there, and you have to have the drive and the determination to make your mark and to develop and to grow. And so I just think that determination, that's something that you're going to hear a lot from me, in that it's kind of been my go-to in how I approach anything.
Wow, that's awesome. Kia, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that like just with my parents and just growing up listening to some of the stories that they've told about, you know, my mom's first job interview where the employer had their back faced to her because they, you know, they didn't realize she was a Black woman, and you know, it was, and you know, they were both people who were the first to desegregate their respective schools growing up and things like that. So, you know, my family, we were always taught that you have to be better. You have to be better. You have to show more. And, you know, I think education's always been a big part of our lives. So while soccer and sports in general, my family loves sports, but we never wanted that to be what solely defined us. We always wanted to be, you know, able to be defined by different things beyond just the sport. And so I think just using, you know, the foundation that they set for us, the example they set for us, you know, kind of breaking down barriers themselves, you know, never letting us feel like that we were insignificant in any type of way. Like that's what really allowed me and my siblings to really grow. And it's funny because a lot of people talk about so my brother's a neurosurgeon in New York. My twin brother's an actor. He's living in Italy, and my sister's a computer software engineer. So, you know, everybody always says like, "Oh my gosh, your parents must be so proud." But I think of it as the reverse. It's like I'm so proud of them, and I'm trying to emulate, you know, kind of the example that they've set for me. So.
Oh my God, you guys just like shattered my heart with these stories, because when you think about, no, I'm serious, what your parents had to do and the fire that they set into you guys. And then I didn't know these things. Like I would have prepared questions to just address some of these things. Like as two Black women who literally did not see obstacles because you had family members who had obstacles and it wasn't a thing for them. They literally created a platform for you guys to succeed. And when you had that platform, you ran with it and you never looked back. What a story for young girls of all colors to look at and see the resiliency of who we are as a community of people. Man, there's such power in that. That's awesome. So let's get to this question. When did you two first meet? Do you guys remember that? Were you guys like adversaries? Were you fierce rivals? Did you get along? Like what happened there?
We were trying to talk about it last night. We were trying to, when did we first meet?
When did we meet? Yeah. And she's like, Tina, I don't. And I'm like, okay, it was Athletica. So St. Louis Athletica. It was the first year of the WPS, right? We both were drafted there. And then when we got there, there was like the orientation, everyone, you know, coming together and going over the, you know, what everything's going to look like. And I just remember being like, yeah. And she's like, Tina, and we were like, hi. And we didn't know each other, but I'm going to tell you, like in my life, so I played on a college team where I was the only African-American. I then went on to play for the U.S. Women's National Team, which there was some diversity, but not much. You know, it was me and Brian Boxey and, you know, I think Trotter. I mean, I did not too many.
Oh, wow. I forgot about Trotter.
Yeah. And so there was, you know, and we weren't always all together either. So, you know, Kia to me became, we were fast friends because I think I was just somebody who plays similar to me, somebody who looks like me, somebody who has the same like demeanor of humbleness. And I was just, I remember like my first meeting her and being like, okay, this person's going to be a person for me. I just knew it. So, you know, that's how we met. But I think it's grown into something pretty special because she was my counterpart. She was like my center back. It was playing against us was not fun, right, Key?
No,
I love this. Oh my God. Wait, so you guys had you two and Hope Solo in the goal?
Oh yeah. Yep. That was the triangle right there.
That was the triangle.
That's not even fair. Like they were talking about how you guys used to shut down like just some Ellie Smith couldn't find the net, and you know, like Marta. They were just saying how you guys used to shut some squads down. Oh, it makes sense now.
I think our favorite was Abby, right?
Hey, she's from Rochester. Hey.
Yeah. Abby was our favorite. Key and I would be. I mean, Abby would be coming. Key would be bodying her in one section. She'd try to get him through, and I'd be bodying her in the next. It was. I like to think I helped make Abby. We helped make Abby the player that she
because of the bully my Rochester made up here. Man, just kidding.
Yeah, and the other thing I'll add is like I think when I came to the Athletica, you know, Tina was somebody. I think she's always seen me as an equal, which I think is an amazing thing. But I've always really looked up to her, and I think that you know she's had, just like she was saying before, she had a child early on, and, obviously a very strong relationship and marriage. And she had a lot of like life things in line that I really respected and admired. So I always think she, obviously on the field, we had amazing chemistry, but off the field too, she was just so wise. And I always just like really looked up to her and looked up to her advice, and just we would talk for hours. We still do for hours.
That tourist, man, it's a tourist business there.
Tourist business. And I think what's cool about us is, we obviously we went to different teams, but we pick off right where we left off, right, Key? And she's talking about me helping her, but she's been so huge in this step to college coaching. And I mean, I feel bad because I'm calling her every night and asking questions, but she's just so open and sharing. And to be honest, I probably wouldn't have even applied if it wasn't for her.
Oh, wow.
Her kind of pushing me, and Tina, you got this, you can do this. And so I'm thankful for that. And I love that we are each other's mentors, right? And
it's awesome.
Each other's people. Always looking.
Yeah, I'll tell you what's so cool, because I probably have just known you guys for probably a month or so now, and I picked up on that right away, right? Because we did the college coaches panel, and Tina, like, her comment is like, "Who's your favorite teammate?" And it's like, it was so funny, because it's like I can pick up on it just like from a comment. You weren't even on the panel, but I was like, I can pick up on like just the, in jest, like how your relationship was.
I'm just so proud. I mean, what Kia has done. I love that. Sorry, I started talking, it paused, but I was just saying, like, I couldn't be more proud of Kia. I mean, from what she's done in the Ivies, the respect she's earned from others, how her team looks up to her, and what she's done. I am over the moon, pumped and happy for her, because, and I almost was like, why didn't I send Mac? I have an older daughter. She's playing college ball. I should have sent Mac there. She's like, Tina, she can still come over.
It's never too late.
I'm just so proud of her. I'm so proud of her.
So cool. And I think it's mutual, because I remember then we had a follow-up call maybe a couple weeks later, and then Tina, you were saying the same thing about Kia, like how much you look up to her as a coach. And I think for me, because you're older, I was like, the humility, and I think people should learn from that. It doesn't matter how young or how old someone is, you can learn from anyone as long as there's excellence there, there's something to learn, like being open and down to earth enough to look at someone who's doing a great job and say, oh, I can learn from them. I was impressed with you from that. That you're like, you've had this long-standing history in the game, and you're like, I'm learning from someone who's younger than me. But it says a lot about who you are and why you're successful. There's humility in how you grow, and you're always going to evolve, and being like both of you and having that mentality. So people out there who are watching, like, pay attention, get the egos out of the way, build your network, build your friends, pay attention to this. This is good stuff. This is golden. Come on, guys. This is good. Put our crowns on, ladies.
Love it.
So here, let's talk about the national team experience. Both of you guys have played for years, and I'm just going to be honest, Kia, with you. I remember one of your cousins, Keith Tucker, was saying, I just wondered why. And by the way, we had a panel with, not a panel, but we had Shaka Hislop, who's a ESPN, correspondent, and he was just talking about how your uncle, I think Keith's your uncle, just had such a huge impact on his life, and that he wouldn't have been the player or the person that he is without his impacts. And we're just talking about just how people can give to each other and allow people. I'm just loving the energy of our group and how people help each other. But your Keith Jr. said to me, he's like, I always wondered why she never made it to the senior team, but I'm not gonna go there. Let's just start with the national team experience. I'm just putting it out there because people are wondering, you were dominant, and then I'm just gonna throw that out there. People can just think about what they want to think about. But what was the national team experience like for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing like how much soccer has changed over the years, but it evolved from like, being one of the best players in the state, playing for one of the best club teams in the state, then going to the regional team, and then being asked to be in the national team pool. So I played all the way from like the U16 national team, played in the U19 World Cup qualifiers up in Canada. I was actually supposed to go to the World Cup in Thailand, and unfortunately I hurt my knee right before we were supposed to go, so I missed that event. But then I continued to get called in with the U21s and U23s, and I think that everybody's ultimate goal is to obviously, represent their country at the highest level. I fell just short of that for whatever reason, but at the same time, like, I wouldn't change anything. Like, I had such an amazing career as a player, playing with the youth national team, having those experiences. We, as a family, like, we would struggle to, pool money together just to go to the Bethesda tournament in Maryland, or the Disney Showcase in Florida. So then all of a sudden, when you're playing with the national team and they're flying you to Europe and flying you to California and flying you to Canada, those are experiences that are invaluable. So I think about a lot of what I did get from the national team, as opposed to what I didn't, what I wasn't able to get. So.
Well, and that's a great way to look at it, Kia, and that's just a testament to your character. For me, I'm a little flipped in that I was a late bloomer. So again, like I talk about my 4 years at the University of Washington, my junior, my senior year, I really kind of broke out and really kind of found my stride as a player. And so I was called into the under 21 camp. I remember my senior year, and that was my first taste of national team. So that camp, I'm be honest, I struggled. I mean, I thought I struggled. I mean, it was a whole different speed of play. You're with the best of the best, and I just, like, deer in headlights, in awe, and all of it. Left that camp being like, okay, well, I've got a lot of work to do. And the league ended up folding that year, so there was no pro team. So I remember being like, what am I going to do? So, okay, under 23s, that's the next thing I can get called into. Mm-hmm. And I remember being like, okay, I got to make sure I'm staying fit. I've got to make sure I stay, ready. And I get the call, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting called back in. I get another shot at the 23s. Here I go. And, Greg Ryan was like, no, Tina, I want you for the full team. And I about almost dropped the phone. And then he was like, and Tina, I want to convert you to play defense. So that phone call, I drop it. And my lovely dad was like, defense, Tina, why? you're a forward. And I remember having to hear that, and my mom being like, who cares, Joe? She's gonna play for the national team, and she's getting her opportunity. And so we celebrated, and I remember I went in, and I was ready for this camp. I felt at home, and I absolutely fell in love. And that's when I fell in love with playing defense. That's when the game kind of went to another level for me, in that my whole life I've been a forward, back to goal, scoring goals, relentless pursuit. And then I had to kind of put on a different hat of, okay, nobody's scoring on me, determination, learning the role quickly. And so my first few, camps in, it was hard. I mean, I was talking to Chrissy Rampone and Kate Markgraf. What do I do here? How do I do this? Trying to get into the building.
Again, guys, listen to what she's saying. She had no problem asking questions. Listen, everybody. Go ahead, continue, please.
And so, and I just remember being like, I got to be a sponge if I want to stay at this level. Again, right? Determination. I've got to do what's needed to be done. And so my time with the women, with the full national team, was a story that I will always forever remember. In that, again, I had my daughter with me. And so Mackenzie would be on trips, and she'd be able to walk down the hall and knock on the door. Hey, Abby, do you want to play cards? Okay, Lori Kolubny, can we go on a walk? Like, she had such strong, and that's the other thing. My whole story has a whole other layer in that. My daughter got to see strong women pursuing their dreams, pursuing their goals, and I'm so thankful and fortunate for that. So the national team, not only did I get to travel here and play there and play in a World Cup and represent my country and, put my hand on the chest and wearing that crest, it was amazing. But I love that my daughter got to see every step of the way. And she got to see mom aspire, and she's got to see
my gosh,
strong, powerful. And even back to my pro time, she'd be knocking on Kia's door. Hey, you want to hang? Let's go. Let's ride our scooters. I'm so thankful that I got to raise, and it's unorthodox. It's not normal, right?
Yeah.
I'm so thankful that I got to raise my children around such strong women. And
oh my gosh, some of the strongest. That's outstanding.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, it's playing on the national team, wearing that crest. I'm not trying to make that small. That was amazing. That was something that I'll never forget. But I love the fact that I got to bring my kiddos along with, and that's special to me.
Oh my gosh, guys, who are you guys still friends with from your national team days?
I I love relationships. So, and I may not be like super tight, but I mean, there's like Heather O'Reilly, I'm always texting. There's, I mean, Lori Clinton, Hope Solo. I mean, Abby's always a text away if ever need. I mean, so my daughter, who's obsessed, which is funny, my middle child, who didn't get to quite be around when all those, you know, I had her a little bit later, and so for one of her birthday presents, I had like Alex Morgan, Brianna Scurry, Abby Wambach, all just wish her on a little, like a video. Happy
Oh my
birthday.
God.
She has that on her phone, and it's like gold to her. So I love that, like, we're still a community and we still look out for each other and we still try to make sure we stay close. So yeah.
Yeah, and that, like, I would say, just the people I grew up with, like Yael Averbush, Denisha Adams, Val Henderson. I mean, there's so many, and it's so nice to see how a lot of them are still like in some ways contributing to the game, whether they're a club coach or a college coach or you know, anything else. Like, they're still involved with the game somehow, which is great.
Yeah, you know what I recognize, and maybe you guys can recognize this too. I used to grow up playing with boys who, like, I had a cousin who was 4 years older than me, so I played with boys who were older than me all the time, and I was faster and I was stronger. So I almost never thought that men were better than me. So it's like when you're kind of like in the business world, or you're going into this next, you know, transition into coaching and different things. There's a lot of people who are intimidated by personalities. Did you find that just your experience playing the game helped you to enter life and to not be afraid of some things that most people are terrified of?
Yeah, I mean, I think that as women, like, I've walked the life of the kids that I coach.
Mm-hmm.
I've lived what it's like to be, you know, a collegiate athlete. I understand that those years are some of the most formative years of your life, probably on the field and off the field. And so I think, and even if they want to go play professionally, like, I've done that. So there's a lot of like their dreams and aspirations or their goals as players or as people that I've been able to walk in their shoes, literally, you know, just being a woman too. So I do feel like there's a special connection that I can have with my players, that, and I'm not saying that men can't have that. I'm just saying it's different, you know. Yeah. And I think that as women, we should feel really empowered and know that we have that leverage and nobody can take that away from you, and use that to your advantage. And, you know, that's something I've talked to Tina about. Sometimes I'm like, Tina, you have played at every level, you know. Even when I was encouraging her about the UW job, like, I was like, she was like, kept focusing on, I don't have collegiate coaching experience. I'm like, but you're thinking of the small little, you know, circle in a big picture, you know?
I can't believe that. Like, I'm like my head's exploding. That you're so humble to even think that. I'm like, to me, I'm like, they were probably knocking her door down. They came through and like made sure that they had the mayor and the president, well, or people. They had people, you know, just to make sure she got that. I love that humility. Oh my God, that's why you're going to continue to just evolve and just be the greatest coach of all time. But I think that's outstanding.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's awesome.
So I want to get into the World Cup with you. Because you played in a World Cup. Like, what's a stand away moment that you can think of? Something stand out, or, you know?
Well, I mean, playing in a World Cup, that's something that we all aspire to do. So, I mean, just that alone, I was just so proud, and my whole family flew out. My, you know, Mac was there, my husband, my parents, and, you know, just having your parents in the stand, that's a great moment when you finally get called in and you step on the field, and it was just special. But I'm going to tell you this, Marta. When we played Brazil in that World Cup, she had this spectacular move against me. And I will forever, I became a better player for it. And I just remember I learned a hard lesson in that World Cup, in that, you know, and I would like to say this, I mean, there was 10 times her and I were in a 1v1, and 9 times, 9 times I stopped her. But that one time, she had
the flick.
Everyone knows about it. I always like to say, "You're welcome, Marta. You're welcome." But no, it's moments like that made me at the highest level learn and grow. And I think that, you know, the World Cup, obviously being there, you know, the national anthem, Hand on My Heart, like, you know, taking it all in. But I also, I will always remember that moment. That was a growth. That was hard. And I think that it made me the defender. I ended up playing against her again and again. And right, Kia, that didn't happen again, did it?
I love it. I was gonna say, I was looking at the records that happened after that. I was like, I like the mentality because they were talking about the least goals against when you guys were playing together and some different things, the records that you guys set. So you might have had one, but you probably had 1,000 after that. So.
And to be honest with you, Hope wouldn't have it any other way. I mean, she kept us in line.
I didn't hear about this. What was that like? Playing with, because Tina, you're real good friends with Hope, and then the three of you guys, two dominant defenders, and then probably one of the best, probably the best goalkeeper of all time in the back of the net. Tell me a little bit about that experience, because you guys are all intense. Like, so I can't even imagine that'd be terrifying, actually.
Kia, you got this one.
Yeah, like the thing is, like, Hope is she's one of the most unbelievable people I've ever met, and I mean that in the best way possible. When I was a rookie coming into the league, I feel like she taught me so much about the game, about what it meant to be a professional athlete, about advocating for yourself, about because you don't really know that stuff unless you really know it. So coming in as a rookie, I was just young and naive, and I was like, yeah, this is awesome, we're playing professional soccer. And she, like we would sit down and have conversations and evaluate games, and we would get in arguments about, like, well, no, Tina should have stepped there and I should have tried, like. The thing I loved about Hope is she gets up and reads, like, the New York Times every morning, like.